This meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority will come to order. City Clerk, would you poll the authority?
Authority Member Bradish.
Present.
Authority Member Gunya.
Here.
Authority Member Gallagher.
Here.
Authority Member Odell.
Here.
Authority Member Cole.
Here.
Authority Member Forrest. Authority Member Mather.
Here.
We have a quorum. Question. Do we have 5 voting members tonight or 4?
5.
You have 4 voting members and an alternate.
And me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And me.
Okay, so Tony will vote.
No.
Ann will
Ann
vote.
votes.
Tony
Ann
will
gets
not.
to vote. I get to watch.
Yeah. I'll show you how it's done, Tony.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ann.
Wait, so we have 5 voting members and 2 alternates.
We have 5 voting members and 1 alternate here tonight.
Oh, I see. I see. 5.
I'm voting in Forrest's place.
Yes.
Which
But
is normally,
but you're right, if everybody was here, we'd normally have 5 voting members and 2 alternates.
Holy cow.
thank you, everyone.
I could draw a diagram.
Next item of business is approval of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to go over the agenda, which is pretty simple?
I recommend the agenda be approved as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next item of business is approval of the minutes from last June 13th meeting. Everyone's reviewed the minutes as I have, and does anyone have any corrections?
I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item of business, the liquor license case, item number 7A, Reliship LLC, doing business as Reliship, 5350 South Santa Fe Drive, Unit G, regarding renewal of the liquor license. City Attorney, would you like to?
Absolutely. This is a renewal application for a liquor license for Relishit LLC. I'd like a motion to admit the following exhibits. Exhibit A, affidavit of posting of premises. Exhibit B, proof of notice to the applicant. Exhibit C, my licensing authority communication. Exhibit D, the public hearing sign-in sheet.
We also have an Exhibit D, which is the speaker sign-up sheet,
Yeah.
which there were none.
So-
Did you mention Exhibit D?
Yes.
I did.
I missed it.
I'll move that we enter Exhibit A through D.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Just to give you a little background, usually routine liquor license renewals are handled administratively under Section 3-2-16 of the City Code. And that section states that the chairperson of the authority is authorized to grant renewals so long as, quote, no information regarding alleged violations of the Colorado Liquor and Beer Codes or Amendment 20 of the Colorado Constitution or violations of this code have been referred to him or her by the police department or otherwise. And in this case, the finance department notified the city clerk and the city attorney's office that the licensee was in violation of the city code for failure to remit its sales tax as required under Section 3-9-3 of the city code. As of June 29, 2012, the licensee currently owes $3,808.07 in unpaid sales tax and has not filed a sales tax return for May 2012. I did request an update on this status from the finance department today and didn't get one for you, so that is the most recent information I have. Pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 12-47-302, subsection 1, the licensing authority may cause a hearing on the application for renewals to be held and may refuse to renew a license for good cause, as that's defined in Colorado Revised Statute 12-47-103, subsection 9. Good cause for the purpose of refusing or denying a license renewal means that the licensee has violated, does not meet, or has failed to comply with any of the terms, conditions, or provisions of this article or any rules and regulations promulgated pursuant to this article. The licensee has failed to comply with any special terms or conditions that were placed on its license in prior disciplinary proceedings or arose in the context of a potential disciplinary proceeding, or evidence that the licensed premises has been operated in a manner that adversely affects the public health, welfare, or safety of the immediate neighborhood in which the establishment is located, which evidence must include a continuing pattern of fights, violent activity, or disorderly conduct. I want to be very clear here that good cause does not include non-payment of taxes unless the authority finds that the licensee's character, record, and reputation are unsatisfactory under Colorado Revised Statute 12407-3071A. And then because the licensee is delinquent in payment of taxes and that delinquency has been filed in a court having jurisdiction or has been made a public record by some other lawful means, and this is required by Department of Revenue Regulation 47-310-E. In this case, a lien against the licensee, Relish It LLC, has not been filed in a court or in the Office of the Clerk and Recorder for Arapahoe County or otherwise been made a public record, so we do not meet that standard that was established in that regulation.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The regulation specifies that for us to find good cause and for it to be
Good cause for not renewing the license.
or it's good cause for not renewing the license, if it's related to non-payment of taxes, the regulation states that that non-payment of taxes needs to have been filed and made a public record by filing a lien with the county. That has not been done in this case.
So what you're telling us is we have no jurisdiction over this.
No, you absolutely have jurisdiction over this. I'm saying as the record sits right now, you don't have good cause.
We don't have good cause to not renew it.
The license.
But we do have reasonable cause to suspend the license until the tax bill is paid.
I do not think you have good cause to suspend the license. I think that if the finance department had filed the lien, then you would have good cause to suspend the license.
So what you're telling us is we cannot suspend it, we cannot deny it, we can't do anything but approve it.
Unless there's other evidence that comes to light during this hearing, I would not advise that you do any of that.
Well, I don't see any reason to proceed then.
I've actually paid most of the taxes too. I can show you that. So.
Okay.
Let's hear from the
We'll
licensee.
give you a chance to speak, and I recognize you from a short while ago when you had your application, as soon as the city attorney
I
finished.
think I have to advise or make sure he's fully aware of the fact that if he does not speak, he does not prevent anything, the board has no jurisdiction.
No, you do have jurisdiction. What I'm saying is that the code does not, generally renewals are handled administratively and the chairperson simply signs the renewal. He doesn't have that authority under our code. It had to come to hearing. And what I'm saying is that for you to not renew the license because you found good cause not to renew, the taxes would have had to have been, there would have had to have been a lien filed, and we don't have that in this case.
Is there a lien about to be filed? Do we know this, whether it is or not?
The finance department does not intend to file a lien in the near future.
I mean, it seems to me that this is probably a larger issue. And again, I think we've gone through this before. I don't want to get a licensee caught up, an individual licensee caught up in a larger issue. So I guess in my mind, since he's here, if he would like to, he doesn't need, well, if he would like to, I think it'd be worth giving him the ability to provide his side of the story, since there have been postings on his business. This is a public meeting. I mean, it'd be nice to give him the opportunity, and then I think possibly afterwards it might be worth a discussion amongst the board if we want to either ask the staff to communicate or communicate to the
Finance Department?
or even city council, that this seems like maybe it's a gap in the system, and possibly we want to look at whether or not liens ought to be filed so that we would have the option, should we want to in the future,
Take some action.
take some action. So I guess I would ask if everyone else is okay with it, if we could just have them come up and.
It's fine with me if it's okay with you.
Do I hurt my case by speaking, or if I don't speak, do I just
Well,
We don't know what you're going to say, but
yeah,
I'm going to show that I paid two-thirds of the taxes in the last 20 days.
Okay, would you
I
please
guess I'm
step
still
up and introduce yourself?
May I continue just a second? I'm still a little bit confused. If, in fact, you came up for renewal, the chairman of the board has to approve the renewal, correct?
the chairman has to approve it provided he doesn't have any information regarding alleged violations of the liquor code, of the Constitution, or violations of our code, municipal code. And in this case, he has information that there is a violation of our code. So it has to come before.
To the board.
To the board for a
But the
hearing.
board can't do anything about it.
In this situation, yes.
Okay.
So that's why I appreciate Chairperson Cole's suggestion that we deal with this licensee, but then maybe talk more about a broader policy issue afterwards.
All right. Sir, would you please state your name and?
I'm Terry Sandrin. I'm the managing partner of Relish It LLC. It's a restaurant located over at Riverbend. I got a liquor license from you guys last May. A lot has happened since last May. Basically, we were given our liquor license on May the 10th last year. Through a series of extraordinary faux and construction delays and everything else, we didn't even open until the end of September. During that time period, we used up 4.5 months of our liquor license. We used up all of our free rent. There was disputes with the contractor. The building was not what was represented. The list goes on and on and on and on. Ultimately, we opened in the fall. We opened very strong. We have very good hamburgers, as the young lady said. We sell 100% grass-fed beef, the only place in Colorado, buffalo burgers, steak burgers. As we moved into winter, business was good. It was very strong. That shopping center doesn't, it's hard to explain, but it's much more of a food court than we anticipated. We're competing with Subway, we're competing with Dickies, we're competing with people who give food away for $2.99 for a sandwich. And the problem is we have a pretty high quality product and we keep lowering our prices in order to maintain, and it's a relatively stiff rent over there. So what happened was, along the way, we became in arrears. There was actually someone handling our books, and I will take the blame. I wasn't paying close enough attention. We became in arrears to about $3,000, $3,800. Spring came, and the other thing was we really weren't selling any liquor. It's bizarre. We couldn't give it away. We have happy hours where we have $2.50 drinks. We had drafts for $1.75, trying to pull business away from downtown Littleton, the tavern, Merle's. It's like a physical impossibility to get them to come over to that shopping center. The people that come there have an agenda. They're looking for really inexpensive food. So anyway, what basically happened is we did a lot of marketing, did a lot of sales, where we have a buffalo burger and a margarita and French fries for $7.95. I mean, buffalo costs $9 a pound just to buy. So we're drawing in business, but we weren't selling it at the prices we really wanted to be getting for it. So what happened when the spring came, it started to warm up. We have a patio outside that we went to great lengths to get built also. And what happened was the patio kind of sat there, and all of a sudden it started getting very busy. We started getting some business. Then, of course, we went through the longest, hottest stretch in June history. Anyway, to make a long story short, about 2 weeks ago when it got hot, our business started to incrementally climb. And it started to climb very well. It started to improve dramatically. And we actually started to sell liquor. So here are stamped receipts from your office. We had a $3,800 bill. We've paid $2,000 of it in the last 12 days. So we owe $1,800. We'll be completely current by August 1st. It should never have probably gotten in that stage. But it did. We've already paid our fee for our liquor license, our $1,250. We paid the state, put their $500 in. We'd like to renew it one more year. We'd like to see what's going to happen over there. If things don't pick up dramatically as far as the liquor side of it, I'll probably let it go. But that's our story.
Are you current with the ongoing sales tax deposits?
I'm sorry?
I'm assuming those.
Yeah, we actually have filed our May returns. We did send those into Eric. So, yeah, from this point on, we're fine. It was just a case of, it was a rough winter. It was our first winter there. It got our attention.
Do you serve alcohol on your patio?
Yes, we do.
Did you amend your
Yeah, that was
property with,
that was a whole other issue.
okay.
This is one of the delays. That added a month to our, we basically built a patio. Well, when we built it, the city engineer and my contractor, I don't think very highly of him, so I don't have a lot to say about him. He built a patio for us, but he didn't make an egress from the restaurant to the patio. So we had the license to serve liquor on the patio, but you couldn't get out to it. So we had to come back to the city of Littleton, sat in a meeting, and went through, you're probably there, an entire rigmarole of getting egress built into this to redesign the entire thing. So all of this added tens of thousands of dollars in time and construction and architects and licensing and you name it. So we are now to the point where we're kind of coming out of this little deluge we went through when we first opened it. Things are stabilizing. We are about to start delivery for the first place in America. We're going to deliver hamburgers. We'll actually be delivering here. We deliver to Arapahoe County. And my view is if they're not going to come to us, we're going to go to them. So at this stage of the game, we started about 2 weeks ago, and it's been very successful. So things are going up. It's been a horrible winter. I'm sorry we ever got to this point. It's an embarrassment to walk in and say, oh, you forgot to cover all your taxes. But at the time, between all the things we were covering, it simply, I think it slipped through the cracks.
Are you current with all your other bills, your rent?
No, no.
So it was only the sales tax that
Sales tax, our rent, we go back and forth with our landlord. Lots of things break in that place, so we're always within a month of just, we hold it back sometimes to try and get them to do something. Just to, our air conditioning, our heat turns on every night at 8 o'clock. It's 100 degrees outside and our heat turns on every night at 8 o'clock, and it's like, it's not pleasant. We've tried to get our grease trap, grease traps are supposed to have maintenance once every 4 years. They've been out on ours 4 times in 7 months. There was a flood in that Starbucks before we took it. I think the pipe broke. It got very cold that winter and a pipe broke. And I think the amount of damage that occurred in there was considerably more than we were told, because we seem to find residual issues all the time. So we have fought those fights. But once again, I would very much like to ask if you'd renew our license. I think, we're going to give it another year. We're going to give it another shot with the liquor. We're not going anywhere. But we'd like to see, I think we can make this. I wish we'd ultimately, tell you the truth, I wish we would have just gotten a beer and wine license. It's only a $400 difference, but we just don't sell liquor over there. It's the only people who'd ever drink are the people from the Essex House, and we try.
And you charge them a lot.
I'm an ex-football player. I actually have bounced more than one of the Essex House people from. It's just anyway. That's the story. So as embarrassing as it is, that is the case. Here are the receipts for the.
Okay, so the bottom line is that you plan on being current by the 1st of August.
Yeah, it's not an issue.
And you're, what, $1,300
About
shy?
$1,600.
$1,600.
Yeah, we've paid 2,012 days, so.
Okay.
It's good to hear that you're making progress.
I'm sorry?
It's good to hear that you're making progress.
Yeah, it's been painful. It's opening a new restaurant is hard. I wanted a standalone place. Originally, I wanted to put it across from ACC in that little building that ACC just turned into a little office. But it was so problematic. There was no parking. They had asbestos. There was all these. But I really wanted to locate it by a school. And ultimately, my partners chose to. They thought Riverbend looked like a high traffic area. Well, it is, but it's a high traffic area for a very different clientele. I mean, it's Subway. I mean, they have $2.99 sandwiches. You can't compete with that. So you keep lowering your prices. You bring bodies in, but your actual revenue does not increase incrementally. So it's a case of you got to keep. We're about to actually change the concept in about the next 2 weeks. You ever been to a smash burger? It's going to be a giant menu in the middle of our mural, and you'll be able to get the guac rocket, which is our guacamole burger, or the Great Divide with onion rings for like a steak burger for $4.99, grass-fed beef for $5.99. French fries will be a la carte, malts will be a la carte, as opposed to putting everything together. And that way we're drawing into the system. The one thing I'm disappointed at is we don't get a lot of high school kids because we use waiters. And I didn't really want to go with waiters. I think it's a bad idea to go with waiters and waitresses. I prefer the idea where you walk in and do counter service, and then we give you the flag, just like El Vicino, just like everyone does nowadays. You order your food, you go to and pick your own table. We bring you the food, but high school kids won't go into a place with a waiter because they don't want to tip anybody. Nobody wants to tip anybody. So we've made a lot of inroads. Actually, my son's going to start a Heritage this fall. And he's a football player, and we've made a lot of inroads with their team over there. So we're going to be going to start doing like fundraising sports nights every Wednesday night for all the Littleton schools, and 10% goes to Littleton schools. We've done a couple during the summer, and they've been during the spring, and they were very successful. So we have to change. We're becoming fast foodish, but it's not. But it doesn't taste that way. But it'll kind of look that way.
I haven't personally been in there and tried your food, and I apologize for that because I intended to, but I just haven't. I think I may do that in the future.
Please do. It's very, very good.
I'm encouraged that you think the business is coming along, and it's a business that we would really love to see succeed.
Me too.
I'm sure you do, but you're good people, and it's a good business. It's good for the city, and we hope it succeeds.
Thank you. We've got a lot tied up in this. It's one of those failure is not an option sort of things, and it's frustrating that we have to redesign the entire concept. The food is going to remain almost exactly the same, but the presentation, if you go into a restaurant now, it drives me crazy. And I grew up in Littleton. I was in Heritage's first graduating class. I played football there. I grew up at Ridge Road and Broadway. 40 years ago I graduated. And it amazes me that people would come into our restaurant and actually, here's the thing on our menu. We offer something called the guac rocket. It's a 3-pound grass-fed beef burger. Pickles, lettuce, tomato with nitrate-free bacon, guacamole, homemade French fries for $8.95. People will come in and say it's really expensive. Merle's, you can get a hamburger for $11. The Tavern, you can get one for $12. And it's just like, so now we're going to take that same burger, make it $4.95, but it doesn't come with fries. So now the perception will be that it's cheaper, but you'll have to get your own fries for $2.95, and you have to get your own drink. It's this constant tug to try and get it to, it's frustrating. My wife's in tears over it half the times. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense.
So you're going to do away with the waiters then?
Yeah, we are going to be, you're going to walk.
I remember in your application, that was something unique that you thought was really going to be big.
And I wasn't really a fan of it. My partner sells MRIs, and I don't go into restaurants without waiters. Well, the problem with waiters and I hope I'm not besmirching anyone whose son or daughter is a professional waiter. They steal. They don't show up. We've got these Aloha computer systems. There's 1,000 ways to steal on one of these things. You can study the book all day long, but there's 2 other. You can try something else the next day, and they void things, and all the cash tickets don't show up, and it's just, they attempt to drink, and it's just like, it's just not worth the hassle of having. It's a much better system in Littleton because I see it. I see it at El Vicino. I know Nancy at Panda Express. I talk to all the people around here. In this day and age, in fact, half the people that walk into our restaurant expect to simply walk up to the counter and order off a big board and then just go sit down. And they're almost surprised that there's waiters. They're like, oh, you wait on us here? We've actually lost business when families come in. They're like, oh, this is a nice restaurant. We're leaving. So I'm like, we're not that nice.
With respect to your alcohol serving, that's going to change now, or it will change when you don't have waiters because the drinks won't be brought to the table where you can.
Well, actually, you always have what is called runners. El Ficino has runners.
Okay, so they would order the food and it would be
Absolutely.
delivered.
You would still come in and stand there and go, I'd
What
like
about
that.
identification checks?
I'd like a burger, and we check everything and go through it, and you say, I'd like a Coors Light, and my wife would like a glass of Chardonnay. We bring it to you.
You check their ID
Yeah,
first.
absolutely, yeah, we still. And
That's
now
what we're- that's
the
what we're
better
getting
thing
at.
now is the one checking the ID will probably be me, because myself or someone like me will be running the register
Yeah.
and cashing everything. You pay when you come in, as opposed to, the biggest single problem we have is when we do get really busy, they just aren't attentive enough. I mean, people are walking up to the counter and saying, can I cash out? Can I cash out? I find that really annoying when I have to find my waiter to pay. This way, you walk in, you order, you pay, you're done.
Yeah.
You go to your table, we bring you your food, thank you. With a waiter, there's 6 trips. Hi, here's your seat. Here's your menu. Would you like something to drink? Here's your drinks.
So see, if you're going in there for lunch, people are getting back to work late.
We're fast. I mean, it takes 15 minutes, and no one's ever really complained about that. But I just find it, I see as we get busier and busier, I think we have a natural bottleneck in the way we've built this place. The problem with being at Riverbend that really breaks my heart, and I've seen this on like in the fall when we had like booming Friday nights, booming Saturday nights. You always want your restaurant to have a wait to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because it creates a sense to people that like, oh, this place is good. Mm-hmm. It's impossible almost to get a wait at Riverbend. Why would that be? They leave.
Yeah, they leave.
Let's
yeah.
go get a pizza.
Yeah, let's get a pizza. Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh,
I
it'll
see.
be 15 minutes. Oh, forget it. Let's go to Panda.
Yeah.
Let's go get a Subway. I mean, there's never a line. So it's just like, you're like, wait 2 minutes, we'll buy you a drink. No, we're just going to go, thanks. So anyway, that's the sort of thing that you work through. You have a concept when you first put it together, and you think this makes a lot of sense, and this is going to happen. And then you see the reality of it, and it's like, whoa.
If you want to make God laugh, create a plan.
Yeah, yeah, believe me.
So, is liquor relatively small
Very
part
small.
of your revenue?
Very small. But beer and wine are, what we sell is beer and wine. We have 4 taps. We have Coors Light, 90 Shilling, Blue Moon, and Fat Tire. And then we have like 8 bottled beers. Those are what we sell. Primarily taps, just draws of beer. And wine. Women and men both like to drink a red wine. We have a Cabernet, we have a Chardonnay. Yeah, the amount of liquor, I've had the same bottle of vodka sitting in the rail for a month and a half. I mean, people just don't go there to drink. But it's the kind of thing, if you don't have it,
Then you lose some
it
some
hurts.
customers.
You lose probably 20% of your revenue, just because beer started out being 5%, then it became 10. It's beer. I mean, if I could amend this and make it a beer and wine license tonight, I would do it. But I understand you have to start the process all over again to do that. Yep. You have to literally reapply and go get. So we'll just go ahead and try and get a liquor license again. But I sincerely doubt I would ever do that again. It's just there's no reason to.
I'll tell you the times that I've been in there, it's been an extremely pleasant experience. I think once actually your wife probably waited on us and came over there. And
people love her.
I go there just to visit with her. She's a very engaging individual.
Thank you. It's freaking us out. It's like, it's tremendous food. We're the only grass-fed burger in Colorado, and it tastes different. It's sweet. It's 18 months on the range as opposed to 9 months on the range and then 8 months in a feedlot eating corn, and it tastes different. It just tastes better, but it's like been a no-sell in Littleton. It's kind of like the CrossFit guys, all the trainers, they live there. They're in there all the time. Greibel and the guys from Heritage are always hanging out there. But it's people who like it really like it. But we added a steak burger just to get the kids. And like my son's actually, he might be the starting freshman quarterback at Heritage this year. We don't know. I was a nose tackle, so I was just square and broke my nose 100 times. He's much more athletic than I am. He comes in with his friends. They eat steak burgers. They don't care about grass-fed beef. So it's just a case of, it's a great product. People are kind of into it. Like I say, the young lady that you said you really enjoy it, this gentleman, but it's just, all we hear is great comments. Then why aren't you here?
How much are you going to charge for delivering?
Nothing.
Wow, okay.
It'll be a $9 minimum on the order, but within a 2-mile radius, we'll deliver, and we'll deliver all day and all night. I think delivery is going to be the key. I think, to tell you the truth, we could get on the national map with that. I started a company years ago in the tech center called Lunches by Design, and they sold it to a company called Options. You might have heard of Options. They bought my company. We did lunch delivery, and it boomed. I know that Jimmy John's booms, but I talked to all the people at Arapahoe County and at the Dish Network, and they're like, they're kind of tired of Jimmy John's. I mean, it's like you got pizza or you got them. Our entire menu will be deliverable. And that's, once again, it's a unique concept. We just have to pull it off. And we will, because I need that revenue surge. Because people like our food, but I can't fight Subway. I don't know.
Okay, I think we've covered it.
That's, you've heard I got my violin out, guys.
I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Well, it's still there to a degree.
I think I commented on that the last time
Well,
we spoke in this room.
it's hard. It's difficult to keep sometimes. It doesn't. It's
I
very,
understand.
It's hard. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion. The public hearing be closed and a resolution of the Littleton Liquor Authority be approved which grants Relish It, LLC at 5550 South Santa Fe Drive, Littleton, Colorado, a renewal of a hotel and restaurant liquor license, contingent upon approval from the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division and based upon the following findings of fact: the premises business conducted in character of the applicant are satisfactory and good cause as defined by Colorado Revised Statute 12.447.103 does not exist to deny renewal of the license.
I second the motion. Any discussion?
I understand we don't have a choice except to approve it.
Yeah, it's
we're
that we
about-
need to
we're about
discuss
to,
after the vote is what we're going to do in the future on something like this. We've had this in the past.
We can
And-
delay that till the other business at the end, but will the city clerk poll the authority, please?
Authority Member Bradish?
Yes.
Authority Member Gunya?
Yes.
Authority Member Odell?
Yes.
Authority Member Cole?
Yes.
Authority Member Mather?
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Good luck.
But
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming in and sharing with us.
Come see us.
You better get to work. I'm just joking. All right. Which brings us to the next item of business, which is the reports, and that's when we talk about other business. First item I want to clear up is next month's meeting. It looks to me like there will be a meeting next month, and we know that it'll be at the courthouse.
I'll make a motion that it be the courthouse.
You make a motion that it'll be at the courthouse.
Yes, sir.
I think that's legitimate. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Another item we had no choice on that we approved today. I like that.
We're doing good.
Tying your hands all over.
Tony, you had a suggestion. I think this is the time that we should.
well, I just suggest that we get in sync with the finance department, the city clerk, et cetera, to find out what we could do and if this situation arises again. In the past, we had this situation come up, and the gentleman surrendered his license, so
I remember
we
that.
didn't have any action on that at all. He came back several years later and reapplied for a new license, and everything was squared up and copacetic, so we granted him that license again. But, I mean, the city doesn't want to put anybody out of business, but the city wants to make money off their business. It's a symbiotic relationship. So if the city's not making money, then they should have some recourse to get this guy's attention to where he's not making as much money either. So I don't know what the steps are to do that, if it's a policy thing or.
Well,
Is there a penalty in the municipal code for failure to pay the sales tax deposits?
They seize your property in the state code. They can seize your property.
State does. I'm wondering what the city does.
I think there is an interest penalty, and then the finance director has has discretion whether to file a lien and pursue it that way. I did speak with them, and they don't currently do that. And just to address your comment, I think we did get his attention.
Oh, I'm sure we did.
I mean, he made payments in the last, since this, so it did serve some.
Well, and what I was going to say is, I think obviously we did get his attention. You don't want to assume the worst in people, but this is a public meeting. I mean, quite frankly, anyone could have just seen that we don't have an option. So I guess my communication to either the finance department or council would just be that it may be worth going through the effort of filing liens to give us the option, because I think that may be necessary, because in the future.
It could happen.
Right, exactly. And I think it seemed from what he said, he was trying, and it looks like, he's going to get there, but you never know, and I think it's good to, craft policies so that we could have the option if we felt necessary. So I don't know if that's, if that's just something that you want to deliver as a message, or, if it's something that we want to, I'm not sure the best avenue other than to.
Hasn't the finance department, by virtue of its not exercising its option to put a lien against it, telegraphed that they at this point are not satisfied with the situation, but don't really wish the city to take any further action at this point in time?
And it could be that they've said, okay, the guy's made a serious payment, and he promises to pay off by the end of the month, so no action should be required. It would be interesting to see, and I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about this gentleman or his operation, but if he doesn't pay by August 1st, it'd be interesting to see what the finance department has to say about that.
Yeah, and I guess to your point, I don't know what the finance department thinks. I had never seen the issue before. So if we got some sort of communication, the finance department said, here's why we didn't, and there was good reason for that, I would certainly understand. If it takes more time than it's worth it to the city, I get that, but I don't know what that is right now. So that's why it would be helpful if we could get some feedback in that regard, then we would at least know.
Okay, I'm happy
Another
to
point that
convey.
makes this even more complicated is that there are businesses who can fail to make their sales tax deposit, but not at the same time their liquor license is up for renewal. And that's a whole different matter, but it's still the same offense, and the city still has the same options.
That's true.
So it's kind of unfair that it can be bad timing for one business to be treated more harshly potentially than somebody else that did exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me kind of summarize what I'm hearing. We were put in a position where we had no choice. And I think the council, at one of the study session or something, should take a look at it and review the thing where if he doesn't pay his tax, it has to come to the board. But if they haven't filed a thing, the board can't do anything except approve it. So I think that's something, I mean, they're forcing us into having a meeting that is costing money and tying our hands at the same time. The other thing is, as Bill brought up, if he doesn't pay his taxes next month, he won't come back to the board for another year.
I'm trying to remember that one incident that came up. I think his tax bill was discovered mid-term of his license. And at that point, we were either going to suspend or revoke the license, but he voluntarily surrendered it, so we didn't have to take an action on it. But I don't think that at the time it happened, it was coming up for renewal. And I may be wrong on that.
I just think the major message back to the council is,
But to your point,
why have a meeting if we can't do anything?
well, and to your point, Bill, is that if this license wasn't up for renewal and he hadn't paid his taxes, then
We wouldn't have even heard
We
about
wouldn't
it.
even have known. I mean, if he was 6 months in arrears on his taxes, we wouldn't have known for 6 months until he comes up. So there should be some way to flag that, and there should be some communication between your department and either the council or the finance department as to when to file that lien that causes us to take action. But I also agree with Earl that we didn't do anything here tonight.
Yeah, and I hear your frustration, and I felt it too when I was, looking at the application and deciding what we should do with it. Because I didn't feel like I could advise Bill that he could sign it, but at the same time, I knew it would come to you, and it would likely be that I would have to advise that you had to approve it. This would be, I think, an excellent topic for the joint sessions that council is having with the authority. Do you know, Colleen, when our next one is?
I don't.
Because I think there are a couple different ways that council could go. One, they could revise the provision that allows Bill to approve it so that it's simply violations of our municipal code as it relates to the liquor provisions. And then he could have just signed this renewal and it would have gone forward. It could be that council could require the finance department at a certain point to file liens as opposed to making it a may file a lien. They can make it a shall after so long.
Well, the person that's getting hurt by not paying taxes is the city. So I would think that they would want to go after him with a big stick.
Yeah. I guess when I was thinking about this from a policy perspective is that if they're not paying their taxes and we file the lien and then we pull the license, they have no way, we pull a way for them to earn the income to pay the taxes. So are we shooting off our foot?
But again, it's each individual situation is different. This gentleman makes very little money off liquor. He makes most of his money selling food, as was the case with the other gentleman who had tax problems. And I'm quite sure that if most of your business was alcohol, you would be pretty sure to pay your taxes and pay them on time if you knew that your license was hanging over your head for not paying taxes.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll point out is that even though we didn't have the lien and you didn't have that discretion, we did post their premises. He did have to come down for a hearing. So I think we did get his attention. There certainly was the possibility that members of the public could have shown up and testified and given you evidence that then would have been good cause. So it was a roll of the dice for him that, there could have been evidence presented unrelated to the tax issue that could have come in.
That could have hurt him.
And yes, so as opposed to everyone else's license that simply goes through an administrative renewal and they don't take that risk. So his license was on the line, even though you couldn't hinge it on the tax issue.
Even though
There
he
might
didn't
have been
think so,
something else tonight.
because he came in dressed for the beach.
He always dresses that way.
Well, I think the other group that this got attention to is the city, and that is we've got a big hole
There's a big hole.
in a process here that either needs to be fixed or we need to have an understanding that we're not going to come out for another meeting like this where we're really not going to be able to do anything except.
There are some more coming down the pike. So I would love to hear from you, and I think I am, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you would like me to talk to the finance department so that they can give you.
Or council, whoever
I
this.
think it needs to go back to council. The council needs to understand the situation, and then they may need to make a decision if they want to correct it, and if they do, how they want to correct it.
Okay.
I agree. I think that this pretty much, the fact that we are not able to do anything pretty much demonstrates this is a bureaucratical unintended consequence that is best handled by council, recognizing that this is something that was just not recognized and then takes the measures they feel are adequate to correct the situation.
And I agree, and I also want to state that we've mentioned that we haven't done anything here this evening. I think we have done something, and not necessarily what we were thinking we were going to do, but I hope we get the council's attention that this is something that they need to be aware of.
I agree with that. And I think we've discussed this matter sufficiently.
Thank you.
Are there any other items? In that case, this meeting is adjourned.